Minnesota, can you believe it? We are going to be hosting the 2024 PWHL Draft. Isn't this exciting? And we're also going to be hosting the awards as well. We're actually doing an award show. Oh, add that onto the list of things we're doing better than the National Hockey League, because for this year there's been no award. There's no award show in the National Hockey League. It's just we're going to announce the winners by social media. I'm like, really? Is that it? Bit pointless, eh? So yeah. So we first heard about the draft during the start. I think it was the start of the playoffs. And then if we got near towards the bars, it was announced that we're going to do the award show as well, both in Minnesota, so that's really great. So yeah, so the 10th, the 11th of June, put that in your diaries. Minnesota, front and centre. Really, really amazing news. So yeah, so the draft is June the 10th. That's the day after I come back from London. Because I'm going to be in London for that weekend for the London Series of Major League Baseball. Representing the Phillies. So the day I come back, the 10th, is going to be when the draft's held. And then the next day, on June 11th, we will have the PWHL Awards. And of course, the various categories and nominees were being announced throughout the playoffs. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a show on that, and we'll get all the nominees and we'll go through that. And then we'll do a show after the awards to recap what happened. Okay, so today we're going to focus on the details regarding the upcoming draft. So this is going to be the second PWHL draft in league history. Of course, Toronto hosted the first one in September of 2023, so just a couple of months away from the start of the inaugural season. This is really exciting. So the Professional Women's Hockey League have announced that the 2024 draft and award will both take place in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota, of course, the home of our PWHL Minnesota. So exciting! So I'm ready to let's go. So the draft will take place on June the 10th, so that's a Monday, and then the awards will be 24 hours later on the 11th, so that's a Tuesday. And I have got the timings for you guys. So June the 10th, which will be the date of the draft. The draft will be at 6 PM Central Time, that's 7 PM Eastern. That's going to be at the legendary Roy Wilkins Auditorium. And yes, we have got times as well for the draft, for the awards. The PWHL Awards will be held on June the 11th at 12:30 PM Central Time, 1:30 PM Eastern Time, inside the Great River Ballroom at the Intercontinental St. Paul Riverfront Hotel. So that's very, very exciting. So we're going to just focus on the details of the draft for today, which is going to work a little bit differently than we had, obviously, in Toronto. In Toronto, it was a massive, massive draft. I mean, we had, what was it, 15 rounds did we have in the 2023 draft? I'm just going to quickly look up again. Let's just quickly look it up. Because obviously the rules are different this time to what they were in Toronto just a few months ago. I say a few months ago, I mean technically it's normal of the year, but given how we've just already had this season begin in January, it kind of still feels like a few months ago. Am I going to be able to find it or not? No. I think we had about 15 rounds in the first draft. Hold on. Yes, yes, it was. Okay, right, 50 rounds. So, yeah. So I'll just really very quickly through how the draft worked last year. So in the first ever draft that took place in Toronto back in September 2023, there were 15 rounds, and it was a snake draft. So the order of picks in the first round, they were decided by using a computerized list, randomizer, during a video conference call with all 6 teams general managers. And in the second round, this order was reversed. So the team with the 6th pick in the first round would go first, and so forth, so forth. The second round, and then so in the first round, you had the team that picks first would go first. The second round would go last, and then it would swap. And I thought it was the snake draft. I've not seen a snake draft done before, so I think that was a really, really good system, you know, because everybody got a fair chance to get a really good draft class in 2023, especially if we're building up rosters. What were the inaugural team rosters? So yeah, so I was really pleased with that style of draft, because like I say, there's been a lot of things in the PWHL this year that I haven't seen before in hockey, and I just thought, yeah, that's been a good thing. That's great. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, keep that. So yeah, so I think a snake draft is a good thing. I think we should test that out more often. You know, it works really, really, really well. So yeah, so obviously Minnesota got the first overall pick in 2023, and then Toronto made the 2nd pick, Boston made the 3rd, New York had the 4th, Ottawa made the 5th selection, and then Montreal had the 6th overall pick. And obviously the second pick swapped, and it kept going back and forth, vice versa, until all 50 rounds had taken place. So this year's draft is a bit shorter. Okay, so the draft this year is a bit shorter. There's only going to be 7 rounds. Kind of makes sense, because obviously, you know, in Toronto, this draft was to fill the inaugural rosters for the inaugural season. So it kind of made sense to have like 15 rounds, because obviously this time last year nobody had any players on their team, so it made made sense. This time though, it's going to work a little bit differently. So this time it's going to be 7 rounds, which it really does make sense. You know, it really makes sense. You know, for it to be that done that way. It is more of a traditional draft, because obviously for the NHL, you know, that's 7 rounds. So so it's kind of a standard hockey draft format in a few days' time. So yeah, it makes more sense this. So just 7 rounds, and the order is different. So this year is no snake draft, and instead as you remember, the goal plan and the league standings have determined how the draft order has been determined. The draft order I'm about to go through with you, this will be the draft order for all 7 rounds. There's no snake draft. It's no teams get to opportunity to have a good mixture in the order. No, this is the order I'm about to go through with you. That is the set order for all 7 rounds in Minnesota on June the 10th. Okay? So, I'll go through it out. So yeah, so obviously so I'll remind you of the goal plan. The goal plan is basically the PWHL's way to prevent tanking. Because the one thing I hate in hockey is tanking. It's even now the last few seasons, it's got to the point where people are just literally doing tank watch. I can't stand tanking. I can't. Okay? So the PWHL came up with this brilliant idea, the goal plan. So that meant that when teams are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, the points they get in their main games would go towards the goal plan. And whoever had the most points at the end of the regular season would get to have the first overall pick in the draft. Love this idea, okay? Because you don't want, you know, because when you go to the start of the regular season, you want every single game to count. You want your team to go out and throw everything on the line every single game, whether you're in playoff contention or you're not in playoff contention. I do not want to see teams tanking just because they think it will give them a better chance in the draft lottery odds when we get to May. No, I'm not a fan of tanking. It just makes my blood boil. The last 2 Saturday Shark seasons have not been pretty for me because I've had other Sharks fans literally go on tank watch. I'm like, no! God's sake. I'm sorry, but if this may be controversial, but if people are watching hockey to keep an eye on who's going to be tanking to get good draft odds, then I'm sorry, you're not proper hockey fans. I'm sorry, you're not. Hockey is not about tanking to get the best players in the draft. Alright? I mean, okay, so if you're interested in tanking, then I'm sorry, this is not the sport for you. This is not the sport for you, okay? So the goal plan was brilliant. The only problem with the goal plan is that because of the parity in this league, you didn't really get a fair fight for the goal plan. It was pretty much New York's all wrapped up for the get-go, because New York were the first team to be mathematically eliminated. And then the question was, would it be Ottawa or Boston who would join them, despite the woes that we were having in Minnesota. You can't have it was going to be Ottawa or Boston would fight them for that goal plan. But because the playoff races for those last 2 spots really tightened and went right down to the last day of the regular season, it kind of meant that New York had that goal plan wrapped up well in advance. And in fact, I can tell you how many draft order points that were given. So New York got 6, and Ottawa 0, and there's nothing for the other 4 teams. So it was no contest. So yeah, I mean, I think the goal plan is a good idea. I just think that we need to. I just think that it will probably be more effective when we get to maybe say an 8-team league or a 12-team league. You know, right now there's only 6. With the parity, literally so tight within all 6 teams, which is just amazing to see. And I take a photo, guys, because trust me, as we go further down, as this league progresses and gets more seasons on its belt, that parity might start to slip away. So let's enjoy it while it lasts. Hopefully not, but we'll talk. Yeah. But the fact that the parity was there from top to bottom from the get-go, it kind of meant that we were going to have really, really tight playoff races. And in terms of the goal plan, good idea, but ahead of its time. The goal plan is actually, I think, ahead of its time. You know, this should be for when we have at least 8 teams, because then you'll have 4 teams that will be mathematically eliminated for the playoffs, and that will be easier to happen more quickly than it would be just 6, or maybe we'll get to 12. No, so I love the goal plan. I'm happy with the goal plan today. Just, I think it's a bit too ahead of its time. But anyway, it's really great. Yeah, so New York have what did win the goal plan. And that means New York will get the right to go first in all 7 rounds in the draft. And this could be really, really vital for PWHL New York. I mean, they really did slip. And New York was kind of one of those teams where there was an extra 5 games. Things might have been different. So I think these will be one of the teams that will benefit from the fact we're going to have 8 extra games added to the schedule next year. So we will see how critical going first in every single round will benefit New York. We'll see. So I think the pressure is going to be on New York next year. It's not going to be on. I don't think it's going to be on us. Okay, yes, we are the Water Cup champions. I don't think the pressure will be on us. I think the pressure will be on New York next year, because everybody will be expecting you to do better because you've got to go first in every single round of the draft. So we'll see. Anyway, but yeah. So New York will get to draft first in every single round. Then the rest of the order is based on the regular season standings, but in reverse. Okay, so you remember Toronto finished first, Montreal second, Boston third, Minnesota fourth, based on a tiebreaker because we were tied on records and points, so there's a tiebreaker exception there, and Ottawa fifth. It'll be in reverse. So Ottawa will go second, Minnesota will go third, Boston will go fourth, Montreal will go fifth, and Toronto will go sixth. Okay, so so for our team, I'm quite happy that we are going third. I mean, I know we could have maybe been in the position that Montreal or Toronto would be, but maybe that losing skid that happened after the international championship break, maybe that was needed to stop us from being in the lower end of the draft order, because going in the middle of the pack means that there'll be some really still good talent left, and you're not have to fight for what's left in the pool. But yeah, so it's really So I think it'd be very interesting because obviously, what do you do? Because obviously, I've never been in this position before, going into a draft where I'm the defending champions. Okay, because my 2018s have yet to win cups. Sharks came close to 2016. Barracuda yet to have made the Gold Cup finals in Broncos history. So I've never been in this position where my team is the defending champions. Okay, so this is like new territory. Obviously, I've gone into drafts where my Sharks have been defending champions of a division title, but that's different compared to the actual championship. So this is what we could. So I think it'd be interesting to see how we draft as well. Because what do we do? You know, we won the World Cup. I'm sure there's areas we can improve on, but it's like, how are we gonna draft based on the fact that we won the World Cup, and obviously we will want to defend that World Cup next year. So I think I think we are going to be another team to watch out for in the draft, because what do they do? What do we do? We are the World Cup champions. What do we do in the draft? You know, because we did it. We won the time. We won what everybody wants to win, the World Cup. So yeah, maybe continued success is the way forward for us. But this is gonna feel like a really weird thing for me, because I've never been in this position before where I'm going to a draft as the reigning Cup champions. It's new territory for me, guys. So that's gonna be interesting. But I think it's great that we're gonna be third in the draft order. It's not a bad position to be in. Although I think Boston were thinking, oh, if only we had got one more point ahead, and then we could, or one less point, and then we could have maybe been third. Yeah, no. Well, maybe you shouldn't have scored that late goal against us at the end of April. That you would have been third in the draft order. We've been fourth. Would that still change things? I don't know. I don't even want to go there because I've got the cup. So I don't want to go there. Yeah, because when I heard how the draft order was going to determine, I was kind of thinking, it's gonna be a bit of a disadvantage then, being in the top 2 seeds, because you're gonna go last in the draft, and you're gonna have to basically fight for what's left in the pool, because a lot of the good talent that you probably might be after will have already been taken by New York and Ottawa. So this is interesting, and of course there's talent across all 7 rounds. But when you're thinking about who, if you're going into a draft, you're trying to think, oh, I might well go this player, that player. But what they then might go, because New York or Ottawa might take them, and then you have to think, what would it? Yeah. So even though Montreal and Toronto really want to be top 2 in the league standings, here's the price you pay for that. Particularly Toronto. You have to be last. Now, I think Toronto is another team that I think is going to be interesting to keep an eye on in the draft, because Toronto won the league, and then it's not an official league trophy in the PWHL, but Toronto, you are technically league champions. So if you want to do a league champions banner, I'm fine with you doing that. You can do that if you like. it wasn't technically a trophy, you can still say PWHL Toronto, you were the league champions because you won the number 1 seed in the league. So you can say that. So I don't mind you do a league champions banner. You can do that. Feel free. Yeah, but Toronto were heavily favoured to be the ones in our shoes who had the glory. We're gonna get the glory. They chose us. Let's not forget that. They chose us. And look what happened. Look where we are now. Toronto is going to pick last in the draft in Minnesota, and we got the Water Cup. So just bear in mind next year, whoever's top seed, bear that in mind next year. Think very carefully when it comes to picking your poison, because who knows, it might come to bite you in the arse. Yeah, so now of course, no disrespect to obviously Ottawa, Boston, and Montreal. I'm not named you as teams to watch. No offense to you guys. It's just these 3 teams, so obviously Minnesota, New York, and Toronto. There's a lot of pressure that's going to be on them going into next season. New York have already covered because obviously we're all expecting New York to maybe do a lot better next year because they will have had the opportunity to go for the top class in every single round of the draft. So that's the reason for New York. Reasons to obviously put out Minnesota is not just because A, it's my team, but B, we are the Water Cup champions. So what the hell do we do in the draft to, I don't know, bolster our roster? This is a weird situation for me. And of course, Toronto I also point out, because obviously Toronto went and won the league last year. Toronto won the league. So the pressure is going to be on them to get the missing pieces they need in order to maybe then go for a Water Cup run. Now, of course, Ottawa, Boston, Montreal, I'm sure there's areas of the draft that you'll want to work on too, but I haven't put you 3 out because of, I don't think people are going to be looking at you for pressure next year. Although maybe Boston, maybe we should talk Boston for pressure, because obviously Boston were, of course, did force Game 5 under controversial circumstances. Boston did force Game 5 in the finals, so maybe we should look at Boston, maybe. But I don't know. Alright, but yeah, so those are the 3 teams I think everybody's going to probably keep an eye out during the draft because of various reasons. But of course, there's also reasons to keep an eye out for Ottawa, Boston, and Montreal. Yeah. So there you go. So there you go. So I'll just recap the order again. So it'll be New York first, who of course by virtue of winning the gold plan. Then it's basically league standings but reversed. So it's an Ottawa 2nd pick, Minnesota 3rd pick, Boston 4th pick, Montreal 5th pick, Toronto 6th pick. And that's how it's going to be for all 7 rounds of the draft. Okay, so it's going to be like that for all 7 rounds. Okay, so it's very easy. So it's very easy to follow because obviously, if you ever watch the draft in the NHL, it gets very, 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 very messy when it comes to the draft order. Because sometimes when teams go on the clock, they do end up switching picks with other teams. It's like it's complete messy, It's like so yeah. So this way it should be easy to follow because all 6 teams know where they're going to be drafted in the draft order. We don't need to worry about any muck about, and hopefully, no need to have any switcheroos. But probably the draft in the NHL is messy because of how some teams do actually switch picks. It's just like, it's just messy. There you go. So there we go. So it'll be interesting to see how this draft plays out. So there's going to be 42 picks made in total, 1 for each of the 6 teams. So 42 picks made in total. So very interesting to see. We of course will do a show recapping all the picks made for obviously our team, Minnesota. So we will do it. So a bit different from what we did obviously coming last year. So obviously with last year's job, we just mentioned it on our pilot. Whereas this year we can do an actual show. So we will. Not long after the draft takes place, we will do a special bonus episode where we're going to recap all the picks that we made for Team Minnesota. yeah, so yeah, so very excited. And can I just say how amazing it is for us to have been given the honour to host the second annual PWHL Draft. I mean, I honestly had no idea who was maybe going to get it, and honestly, I don't think that was really on the back of my mind, because the draft you don't normally want to think about until after the World Cup has been handed out. I mean, in the AHL, the draft is always on your mind, because obviously you have the draft lottery at the beginning of May, so the thick of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So you can't. So the AHL, you can't put the draft to the back of your mind until the cup's been handed out because of the draft lottery. And especially could not put the back of my mind this year! Celebrity's gonna be in teal. But obviously with the PHL, because obviously there was no draft lotteries, because we had the goal, which we didn't need because we had the goal plan. Meant we didn't need to worry about the draft until the draft details went out. Which is kind of nice, because you don't really want to think about the draft until it's all been said and done for the regular for the season and the cup's been handed out. You don't think about that. So I had no, and of course with just 6 teams right now, I had no idea who was going to get the opportunity to host this upcoming draft. But I am so pleased and so happy that it's us. And it kind of feels right, doesn't it, that the draft goes to the inaugural World Cup champions. It kind of feels right, doesn't it? Okay, I know. Alright, before you guys on the other teams go, hang on, I know. Right, yeah. I know, obviously, the details for the draft and the awards were announced before the World Cup finals. Okay, I know that. But, given how things have panned out, it kind of does feel fitting that this year's draft is going to be held in the location of the World Cup champions. It kind of feels right. It just feels. The hockey gods work mysterious things, my friends. They work mysterious things, and you don't question them. You just roll with it, okay? They have spoken. It just kind of feels really, really special. You know, obviously because it's my team. I don't know if San Jose has ever hosted a draft. Don't think it has in my time, in my 15 years. I don't know. We've had All-Star games, we've had an outdoor game. I'm not sure we've had a draft. But again, would we really want a draft now, given how the AHL has changed the way the draft works there? I don't know. But it can't just be a show. It cut this show. It kind of feels right that the inaugural World Cup champions are going to host this year's draft. Oh, it just feels amazing, doesn't it? It feels amazing. So yeah, so there we go. So those are the details for obviously this year's draft. We'll see. We've also told you how the thought's going to work. Don't worry, I'll remind you about the format. When we do the show, we're going to cover all the picks made by our Minnesota ahead of obviously our title defense. Oh, God, got used to saying that. Yeah, so there we go. So yeah, so June 10th, Monday, 10th of June, PWHL Draft 2024 in Minnesota. Lock it in your diaries. It's already locked in mine.